The sins you've committed in just a few decades of your life, how could you ever repay them, even over countless lifetimes? It's terrifying. In this lifetime, if we truly wake up and gain real wisdom, it doesn't matter how tough life gets, we must never take advantage of others, not even a little bit. We absolutely have to keep a good heart, do good deeds, and accumulate virtue. That way, after we die in this life, we'll have a good place to go in the next one. In the next life, we must make sure not to fall into the three evil realms. Ending up there would be disastrous. Now, some fellow practitioners might ask, I've already committed these sins, so what should I do? I'm actually an example myself. A very good example. In fact, when I was young, I loved eating tasty food, a real meat. The animals we raised at home, their meat wasn't even that good, but I thought it was delicious. Beat you daily. So this is the retribution he received, the retribution of a short life. A short life is retribution in life. Falling into Avicii hell is karmic result. In Avicii, you have to pay back your debts one by one. Every cause you create leads to a karmic result, doesn't it? But the Buddha told me, as long as you're still breathing, there's hope for you. Even if you've committed sins that would send you to Avicii hell, the Buddha still has a way to save you. Do you believe it? If you don't believe, there's no hope. But if you believe, there's hope. The Buddha tells you, through repentance you can remove your karmic obstacles. We read in the scriptures that King Ajatashatru committed the 5 gravest sins. He killed his father and harmed his mother, along with Devadatta, who actively destroyed the monastic community, harmed the living Buddha and the monks. These 2 individuals were, without a doubt, truly wicked people. King Ajatashatru only realized his mistakes on his deathbed. He understood the grave errors he'd made in the past, regretted them, and sought repentance from the Buddha. The Buddha taught him to recite Amitabha Buddha's name and sincerely aspire to be reborn in the Pure Land. He repented. The power of his repentance surpassed his karmic obstacles. He was reborn in the land of ultimate bliss, rebirth level high. The Buddha said his rebirth was in the middle tier of the highest grade. For Buddhists, hard to accept, he committed serious offenses. Even the lowest rebirth would be good. So how could he be reborn in the middle tier of the highest grade? Then we realize the power of repentance is incredible. In turning back, a person becomes truly virtuous, a genuinely good person. A prodigal son returned means more than gold. He turned life around. With that turnaround, he transcended the ordinary and became a sage. Becoming a sage frees him from hell's punishments, but not from karmic debts. He must still repay them by teaching and helping sentient beings, like a Bodhisattva. Helping others brings challenges, part of repaying debts. Take Shakyamuni Buddha. He saved sentient beings later. Even among his monastic disciples, the 6 groups of Bhikkhus and Devadatta troubled him daily, annoying him. Repaying debts, enemies and creditors from past lives. So, back when the world-honored one was alive, he actually demonstrated this for us Kofs. Even he couldn't avoid being troubled by others. For monks later, it's normal if people spread rumors, stir trouble, slander, or frame them. Master Han's Hanming dynasty was imprisoned. Master Huaining Chen master-hid with hunters 15 years. He was a true Bodhisattva who had realized his mind and nature, not an ordinary person, yet he worked as a servant in the hunters group, cooking and doing their laundry. He looked after these hunters who went out hunting. It wasn't a short time, they suffered for years. To endure such humiliation and hardship, these are the consequences of past misdeeds and karmic debts to enemies and creditors which you can't avoid repaying. From these examples, we can imagine what the Buddha told us in the sutras. These are the real facts. The law of cause and effect is precise, not the slightest bit is missed. As the saying goes, if you eat, you must repay. If you eat the dust, you must walk the path. The causes and conditions in this world and the resulting karma are incredibly complex as well. One day, you'll come across this yourself. Sooner or later, you'll have to face the consequences. The following sentence says that if someone is cruel to his parents, he will be the first to be punished if a monk whips him. This is something we see in the world, hence the saying, former father, later mother. Because the children aren't their own flesh and blood, they are often mistreated. When they're young, if you mistreat them, they'll hold a grudge in their hearts. When you're old and they've grown up, that's when the payback comes. That's retribution in this very life. So, Buddhism teaches us a fundamental principle, a guiding rule we must remember. Don't make enemies or hold grudges against any living being. This is the main principle, the guiding rule. Even if we are insulted or wronged by others, we absolutely must not seek revenge. Only then, and only in this way, can we truly transcend the 3 realms in this lifetime, in our hearts and minds. If you still harbor resentment and blame others or the world, and die holding on to grudges, let me put it another way. You'll still be stuck in the cycle of 6 realms of rebirth. You won't be able to break free from your karmic creditors and enemies, and you'll keep repaying each other, life after life, each time more cruel than the last. You'll be creating extremely heavy negative karma. This. When you read about this in the Mahayana Sutras, it really makes your hair stand on end. The negative karma we've created in the past isn't just from this life, what we know about ourselves now, but also from previous lives, from time without beginning. How could we possibly deal with all the karma we've accumulated? The more you think about it, the scarier it gets. The more you realize how serious this is, it's overwhelming. If you end up in the 6 realms, with countless karmic creditors and enemies, how could you ever have a good day? So, in this world, if we look around each year, is there anyone who doesn't have a hard time? No matter how wealthy or privileged you are in this world, even if you enjoy riches, your karmic creditors and enemies are still surrounding you. If you look closely, their lives aren't easy at all. We need to be clear about this. We need to understand it. When we encounter the Buddha's teachings, we've found a way to live. We've found a way out. To break free from the cycle of birth and death. We can temporarily get away from these karmic creditors and enemies, not forever, just for a while. After breaking free, we go to the Western Pure Land, become a Bodhisattva or a Buddha there, and then come back to repay them. Buddhist scriptures say the Buddha does not save those without karmic connection. Why are karmic creditors and enemies connected to us? Once liberated, I'll help them. This shows helping these karmic creditors and enemies isn't bad, it's good, and will help all sentient beings achieve liberation. We'll come back and help them become Buddhas too, help them break free from the sea of suffering. The last line says, if you have wrongfully taken the life of another, you will experience the retribution of being separated from your loved ones. This is something I've personally experienced. Did this, faced retribution. Throughout my whole life, my family couldn't be together. When I opened this sutra, I saw I created this cause and experienced the result. See, it's all so clear and obvious. Having gone through it myself, the feeling is incredibly deep. Let's look at the next part. If you slander the triple gem, you will suffer the retribution of being born with missing or broken teeth. All these things the Buddha talks about in the sutras are, in detail, about karmic retribution. The retribution is received in hell. Let's look at the next line together. If you treat the teachings with disrespect or laziness, you will suffer the retribution of leading others astray. Have you ever thought about these two lines together? Looking down on the Buddha's teachings, being negligent. Spreading Dharma benefiting sentient beings. If you approach these things with a careless attitude, if you don't take them seriously, why is karmic retribution so severe? Buddhism lets us link with worldly matters. In the secular world, education is, without a doubt, absolutely and fundamentally essential. It's the foundation of personal happiness, family harmony, social stability, and world peace. If you destroy the foundation, how could world not fall into chaos? Teachings from Maitreya's family, aren't these words true? Since the direction and goals of China's education policy were long ago established by Emperor Wu of Han in ancient times, the country adopted this approach. All the way up to the late Qing dynasty, even though dynasties kept changing, China's education policy remained the same. Why didn't it change over the years? If, at the time, the country had truly implemented it and put in more effort, the nation would have been prosperous and the people at peace. If it was neglected, chaos would break out across the land. You can see clear evidence of this in history. Establishing a nation and governing the people with education as the priority holds true. When building a country, setting up a government, and leading the people, what's the most important thing? Education. Education comes first. If you downplay the law and overemphasize education, it causes serious problems. It's said that since ancient times, China hasn't governed the country by law. Westerners value the rule of law, we value reason. Since ancient times, China has emphasized morality, benevolence, righteousness, and propriety, and has used these 5 words to govern the world and the country. Harmony is reason's most valuable use. In Buddhism, we talk about the 6 harmonies. If they didn't mention the 6 harmonies, they mentioned the 3 harmonies. If you go to Beijing today and have a look at the Forbidden City from the Qing dynasty, you'll see that this palace was used by the Ming and Qing dynasties, 3 generations of emperors, all in the same place. 700 years. If you look at its main buildings, what we commonly call the Golden Throne Hall, in fact, it's not actually called the Golden Throne Hall, it's the Hall of Supreme Harmony. It's all about harmony. Behind the Hall of Supreme Harmony is Hall of Central Harmony and further back Hall of Preserving Harmony. What do you think that means? These emperors were wise and clever. They ruled the world through harmony. Just look at how profound that meaning is, how far-reaching that is. So it's no wonder they were able to rule the country for over 260 years. If, towards the end of the Qing dynasty under Empress Dowager Cixi, those emperors had still followed the principles and teachings of their ancestors, it would still be the Qing dynasty today, still the great Qing nation. How could they have lost the country? It's such a shame. The last descendants forgot the lessons of their ancestors. They did whatever they pleased, and that's why they lost the country. Just by following the principles and fundamentals of Chinese education, a dynasty could last for thousands of years. If you do things this way, the common people will all support you, and no one would even think of overthrowing your rule. You'd think, this is fantastic, the government is so good, and you'd have the support of the entire population. It's only when you fail to meet people's expectations and go against their will that people start to rebel. If you can go along with me, go along with the will of the people. If you can be genuine in everything, take care of everything like this, and look after them with care. Care for them wholeheartedly and with all your effort. Look after their lives. You can't tolerate the people suffering. Is your regime supposed to be rightfully in power for thousands of years? If you don't love the people, if you mistreat them, don't protect them, and don't care whether they live or die, then of course the people will rise up in rebellion. History is a truly clear and vivid mirror, indeed, for us all. The scriptures are knowledge, and history is insight. They serve as proof for us. The influence of the Buddha's teachings on the order and chaos of Chinese society is also very clear. If you look at Chinese history, in whichever dynasty was at its most prosperous, Buddhism was also at its peak. And when that dynasty was in decline, Buddhism was also in decline. There's a profound cause and effect at play here. Why hearts turn there? Buddhism teaches goodness, flourishing, people are kind. When Buddhism declines, when fewer people believe in Buddhism, fewer good people, less kindness, more bad actions. Ever since Buddhism was introduced to China, every emperor throughout the dynasties has earnestly and diligently worked to study it, to actively promote Buddhism widely, and to disseminate its teachings among the people, which, in turn, fostered a positive, harmonious, and uplifting atmosphere in society, benefiting all. People in the Ming dynasty understood cause and effect, so when they did good they restrained themselves, not needing laws to keep them in check. This is absolutely not a policy to keep people ignorant, and it's definitely not about deceiving the public. This is what we call the truth. It's the real facts. Now, look at the next line. If someone misappropriates property belonging to the Sangha, it is said they will face the retribution of hell in the realm of desire. We've talked misappropriating Sangha property before. This is stolen ring. If you steal property belonging to the Sangha, the Buddha explained at the well, no matter how serious a crime you commit, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can save you. But if you steal property belonging to the Sangha, even the Buddha can't save you. So what should we do if we commit this offense? It's very easy to commit this kind of offense. If we steal from an individual, karma resolves easily. You repay one person. But if you steal from the country, then you're in real trouble. When repaying debt, you repay your creditor, the country. Where does the country's money come from? From taxes. So, in every country, the people are the real owners. When it's time to pay back the debt, you'll have to pay each and every one of them. China has 1.3 billion people, so you'll have 1.3 billion creditors to pay back. That's a lot to deal with. In Buddhism, the assets belonging to the monastery are even more serious. But you should all know, this is exactly how things are nowadays. Back when I was giving lectures in Taiwan, there was an elderly layperson. He's no longer with us. He passed away many years ago. He asked me to eat. He only invited me, just the two of us having a meal at a restaurant. I said, "Old layman, what's the meaning of you inviting me today?" He said, "I have a really puzzling question that I want to ask the Venerable about." I said, "What question is that?" He said, "If you break up the harmony of the Sangha, if the monastery is left without anyone, you'll fall into the Avicii hell and never be able to get out. What should we do about that?" When I heard that, I chuckled and said, "Where did you see this? Breaking up the harmony of the Sangha, where have you actually seen that?" When I asked him that, he thought about it and was a bit stunned. He said, "All my life I've been traveling around giving Dharma talks, but I've never come across a truly harmonious Sangha. Why would I leave? Those people are always arguing and fighting with each other." I said, "Where have you ever found a harmonious Sangha?" What does permanent residence mean now? That temple is basically his own home. It's not a place for the Sangha from all directions. We can't even stay there for a night as visiting monks. He won't allow it. How can you call that a resident Sangha? That's just his house. When I said that, he got it. I said he wasn't destroying the Sangha's harmony, but his family. Resident Sangha's just his family. What's special? If only 3 or 5 live there, their debts remain. I said I've never seen a united Sangha or found an open big temple. He said, "If you find one, tell me." He hadn't either. Let's eat. Now temples are called ancestral or small temples and aren't open to everyone. The Lay Buddhist Association and Amitabha village are built. All will have a true home. If your mind regresses, you'll return to his small house. This is the confusion the Sutra described. Although the Singapore Buddhist Lodge is a temple run by lay Buddhists, it is, in fact, a well-known 10-direction temple, open to all. Monastics and lay disciples from everywhere can stay here. No one is turned away. Once Amitabha village is established, it will be even more remarkable. Layperson Liu Yuan told me. That anyone from any country or region who practices Buddha recitation, whether monastic or lay, as long as they come to Singapore and get residency, this center will provide for them. If you honestly practice Buddha recitation here, you'll be supported for life, right up until you pass away. This is a permanent sanctuary. This sanctuary welcomes all. Now, the Lay Buddhist Association. Let's see the excerpts. Every day, 3 meals are served buffet style. Meals are free of charge. It doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist or not. If you come, you'll have something to eat. Even if you slander the Buddha or speak against Buddhism, as soon as you walk in, you'll still be given a meal. There's absolutely no discrimination. At the Lay Buddhist Association, we saw people from other religions, Christian priests, Catholic fathers, coming to eat. Everyone is supported equally. Permanent dwelling. So when you eat there, 3 meals a day, you're welcome to eat as much as you like, but you absolutely must not sneak any rice or food out to take home.